But we're looking at some pretty good snow at lake level, maybe 4 to 7 feet. Here, some of the resorts are looking better than that. And we're going to see perhaps up to 24 inches at Mount Rose. So I can tell you right now, it's pretty chilly out here. So we're into the cold air behind the system, but we have some dangerous surf on the way throughout the next 24 hours. In fact, breakers up to 30 feet. So do be careful out there. And this is going to detail this morning's commute. Hi there.
Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. I must tell you, the snow up in the Sierra has both 80 and 50 shut down. 50 at Echo Summit, though, that's because boulders landed in the roadway, and they have to blast those off. I'm talking huge, big rocks. So avoid going to Tahoe now if you can. Hopefully the weather will subside and they can get that cleared out. Look at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza as the sky is starting to clear here in San Francisco. We have metering lights on, and you are stacked back past the overcrossing and very sluggish on the upper deck into San Francisco as well. Those slow speeds are good this morning because there's standing water everywhere. This is the East Shore Freeway headed westbound on 80 past Golden Gate Fields and on into Berkeley and Emeryville. You're moving at a pretty slow clip, but there is no standing water here. We'll touch on some of the flooded areas. The worst happens to be on 880 southbound, all lanes shut through Fremont between Maury and Tennyson Road, and you can see southbound 880 is just stopped bumper to bumper all the way from Highway 92 down past Highway 84. You cannot get past that closure. There is a detour in place. Northbound is slow, but it is getting through. 121 in Napa, you have flooding water there, closed between Highway 116 and 8th Street, so avoid that area. You can take Napa Road as an alternate. Sunol grade, very slow southbound out of Pleasanton. We had an earlier accident northbound, overturn at Andrade. That is starting to be cleared out of lanes in the clearing stages, so avoid the Sunol grade. Again, major slowdowns all around the bay this morning.
Yeah, some really big slowdowns to tell you about. Probably the worst right now down in the South Bay, where standing water is causing some real big problems there. ABC7 News reporter Ryan Curry is live along 880 in Fremont. He's been there throughout the morning, providing us updates hour by hour. Ryan, what are you seeing now?
Well, good morning to you, Julian. Right now, things are pretty much the exact same as they were throughout the morning. The bad news for these commuters heading to the South Bay, 880 southbound still blocked, and it's going to be that way for at least the foreseeable future. The reason why, the standing water we were just talking about, that's what you're seeing right now on 880 southbound, and that's what's been the major headache for many people heading down this way throughout the morning. We've got video from what we saw earlier today showing around 6 to 7 cars, that's what CHP told me, trapped in the water due to that high floodwaters on 880. CHP did tell me that they were trying to get as many of those cars towed out throughout the morning, and that's exactly what they did to safely get everyone out, and luckily no one was hurt. But the biggest issue right now is that this water is staying exactly still and it's slowly receding, but it's too high to let anybody go through, let anybody pass through. That's why this road is blocked off. Northbound 880 is in better shape. They've got a couple lanes open. They too were also blocked due to flooding throughout the morning, but traffic is now moving steady over there. If you are planning to commute to the South Bay, 680 is probably your best bet. If not, trying to find a different route. CHP did say give yourself a little bit of extra time because you're going to need it. This is the roads are not really in the best shape right now. We saw a lot of accidents on our drive up right now. Some of these cars in really bad shape, and it's a sloppy condition out there today. So if you are out on the roads this rain, you're definitely going to feel it, especially if you're on 880.
All right, thank you, Ryan. In the North Bay, some streets are under more than a foot of water this morning, caused by flash flooding and swelling creeks. We want to check in now with ABC7 News reporter Stephanie Sierra, who is live in Marin County in San Anselmo. And what's going on there now? Stephanie?
Good morning. Well, the creek here in San Anselmo is looking more like rushing rapids, a creek that was bone dry just over a week ago, and you can see the levels have risen quite a bit. Neighbors in this area who live nearby say it rose at least 4 inches yesterday throughout the day. Thankfully, no downed trees on this side of the creek, but farther down, a lot of debris clogged up parts of this creek. Public Works crews struggled to prevent much of it from clogging up and flooding part of Town Hall that's built over the creek, but thankfully that did not happen yesterday. Crews will be monitoring levels. Marin Police did tweet that out last night and said they will be out this morning. A few miles down the road in San Rafael, conditions even worse. Cars were struggling to cross the street as intersections were flooded with more than 2 feet of water. Several businesses nearby didn't have enough time to prepare. We spoke to Baytime manager Dan Chandara, who says he had not seen a storm of this size in 30 years.
The water has never gotten this close to your restaurant before?
Yeah, never. Just not too much. Every year, not too much. This year, a lot of water.
Yeah, a lot of water is right. Another business owner down the street started pulling water out of his basement with buckets, but he told us the drains were so clogged he could not get his stuff out, describing it was like rushing tide in his basement. We're certainly seeing that rushing tide here in San Anselmo. Public Works has indicated there will be a lot of cleanup today as those downed trees we were talking about, and of course the debris that was clogging up parts of the creek yesterday. We've seen some crews drive around today as people are starting to come out and about, but they were concerned the creek was going to overflow yesterday. But again, Marin Police did tweet out they do not expect that to happen today. They're going to be monitoring the levels. But again, pretty surprising, as if you can imagine this entire creek completely dry, and look at it now, and that just really gives you a sense of how much water has accumulated in and around this area. So if you are heading out to work, certainly be safe on the roads. We had some trouble, and I actually almost got stopped on the side of the road as we were coming in today. So be careful, as a lot of that waiting water is surrounding a lot of those windy roads in this area. We're live in San Anselmo. Stephanie Sierra, ABC7 News.
Okay, Seth, thank you for that update there. Now we want to give you a live look at PG&E's outage map right here, which shows all the power outages affecting the Bay Area. We know more than 68,000 people across our region are without power right now, and this is a lot better than it was just a short time ago over the weekend, where power really got knocked out for lots of folks. One of the hardest hit neighborhoods is in Foster City in San Mateo County, where 5,600 customers have been without electricity for hours. I do want to share some of the latest numbers that we just got in from PG&E in San Francisco. There are more than 2,000 people without power right now. Along the peninsula, we're seeing 25,000 people without power. In the North Bay, we're talking about Marin and Sonoma counties, some 20,000 people without power. In the East Bay, about 8,400, and in the South Bay, 11,000 people without power there across the region.
And let's talk about this. In the North Bay, there are several Sonoma County schools that are closed today, and that means no in-person classes or virtual learning. Bennett Valley Union and Guerneville School District schools are going to be closed because of flooding. Montgomery School in Casadero is going to be closed because of a power outage and roof leaks, and Anderson Valley Community Day School is also closed.
And all that rain in Marin County proved to be too much for this tree and Woodacre. As you can see, the large oak just toppled onto a home. The damage was severe there. 2 of the bedrooms were destroyed, and the residents, they had to find somewhere else to stay for the night. The ground is really saturated in that part of Marin County. Nearby Fairfax has gotten more than 9 inches of rain.
Well, cleanup will be underway in San Francisco this morning, and it's because of things like this. Several trees came down in the city yesterday. This video is from Sidney Walton Square. This is on Front Street in the Financial District, but trees also came down in Cole Valley. We saw fire crews cutting up one at Belvedere Street and Parnassus Avenue, and then just a block away from that, another tree came down on top of a car.
And there have been a lot of problems in the Santa Cruz County and in the mountains there. This is video of flooding in Boulder Creek. You can see water just rushing down the roads. And in Ben Lomond, a tree and a power line came down around 2 yesterday afternoon. The tree hit a car. Thankfully, no one was hurt there. Another driver says he feels lucky he wasn't injured after a tree fell on his car, and you can see the damage it did to it. It happened as he was driving on West Zayante Road in Felton. The atmospheric river is also impacting wine country. One of our viewers, Brian Hughes, shared this video with us. It shows Sonoma Creek and Kenwood just gushing. I mean, the water is really moving here. And what's so remarkable about what we're seeing in the video is that this creek was pretty much dried up just last week because of the intense drought that we're dealing with. Now it looks like a raging river. The storm dumped more than a half foot of rain in parts of Sonoma and Napa counties. And some people saw the crazy flooding and they decided to make the most of it. You see, the woman who took the video was really tickled by this. Two East Bay kayakers decided to have some fun after the storm flooded their street in Martinez. Michelle O'Hearn was there to capture the video. You can hear her laughing, getting a real good laugh in the background. At one point, a car drives by, creating the wave you saw right there, and that's when Michelle yells out, "If I had a jet ski, I'd join ya." Check in it now with Mike. Thankfully, like you were saying earlier, Mike, you know, no one was out there in the kayaks and they had to be rescued.
Right.
Just people having fun with it.
We haven't seen any swift water rescues or any water rescues at all, which is nice to see. And yeah, those are what, level 1 rapids possibly. I have been talking though, Julian, and good morning again, everybody, of some localized damage. And we just have wind damage, a tree down on State Road 152 westbound near Spring Lake. So that is just another example of what is possible as we head throughout the rest of the morning into the afternoon hours. So here's a look at the current winds, and you can see they're gusting at SFO to 28, but everybody else is less than 20 miles per hour, and that is good news. Now, as we look at the winds at the higher elevations, and what you're going to see at the higher elevations, oh, Dwayne just left. And you could see that we're looking at 37 in Tamalpais, 39 Spring Valley. So we're definitely seeing a little bit of an uptick there. Now, for our small craft advisory south of the Bay Bridge all the way into the South Bay, that's until 9 o'clock. So we're going to definitely have some breezy conditions in that area. So if we can move on here, and we're going to take a look at the flood advisory for Solano County. Goes until noon. That's different than everybody else because they're under the Sacramento National Weather Service jurisdiction. Here's a look at live Doppler 7 over Solano County. Just had some pretty healthy storms move through, but you notice they're tapering. But it does take a while for all that water to make its way and coagulate and condense and consolidate. So it could be there. And flooding could be around for another couple more hours. Here's a look at our record low up to the north. It is what is going to continue to bring us some high surf. Look at those 20 to 30 foot breakers possible through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've got one last chunk of energy out over the ocean right now that'll bring us a slight chance of some scattered thunderstorms. It's that white cloud mass you see moving through right now. And as we look at radar, future radar, you notice the steady rain tapers in that next chunk of energy doesn't produce a lot through 1 o'clock. Some scattered light showers there and more through the 5 o'clock hour. But notice they continue to taper as we head deeper into the evening hours. So we are definitely seeing the worst of this behind us. As far as my Accuweather 7-day forecast, we're in the low to mid 60s, not only today under this 1, which is going to decrease as we head into the afternoon hours. We've got a 1 again at tomorrow, and I'll show you that future radar coming up in a few minutes. But notice from Wednesday all the way through Saturday, 60s and 70s with partly cloudy conditions. All right, let's get back to Lisa and see what she's going to wow us with now. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Mike. You know, on October 23rd, the wettest day in San Francisco was 2009 at 2.48. That was October 23rd. And then you know what happened October 24th? Yes, we got to shatter that record, and it became the 5th wettest day in San Francisco. So it was the wettest day in October at 4.02 inches, and then it was the 5th wettest day ever. So now we're over 5 inches for the month in San Francisco. Here's a look at Santa Rosa, 9.53 inches for the month of October. San Francisco, 5.29. Look at Oakland at 3.85. This is just for October. We could say it's just for the past day, yesterday. Livermore, 4.13, and San Jose, 2.34. So how is that from going from a drought and fire season to some flooding rains? Here's a look at the rest of the Bay Area. How about 27 inches for the month in Mount Tam, on Mount Tam, Middle Peak. Kenfield, 4.62, looking at 6 inches in Oakland, and Palo Alto over 3 inches, 5.5 inches plus in Hayward, and Yountville nearly 9 inches. So Mike told you the forecast, but it's cold. It's cold this morning. Tomorrow we're still in the 60s, but what we have to look forward to in the East Bay, kind of nice in the 70s with a lot of sun by the middle of the week into the weekend. Sue?
All right, we're taking a look at some major flooding still on roadways. We've got the Golden Gate Bridge, though, looking beautiful. The clouds are starting to part there, and traffic is flowing nicely into the city. Still some flooding South 101 near Lucky Drive. And here's a look backed up at the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge Toll Plaza, where we had some high winds reported earlier this morning and a little slow merging onto those two lanes. The big issue tends and still is to be southbound 880 through Fremont. Northbound is open. Southbound remains closed due to flooding in lanes. They're hoping to get that open in the next little bit. We'll keep watching it for you.
All right, thank you so much. Of course, you are watching ABC7 Mornings, streaming live on the ABC7 Bay Area streaming app and on our website, abc7news.com. We're going to take a moment to so the people watching Good Morning America can join us for a live news update.
And while we prepare for that, we're going to leave you with a look at live Doppler 7 and also some live pictures from around the Bay Area. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Now an Accuweather update from ABC7 News.
Good morning, I'm Julian Glover from ABC7 Mornings. We want to get a quick check of that forecast now after that historic rainfall with meteorologist Mike Nico.
Julian, let's take a look at what's going on with live Doppler 7. You could definitely see trending to the lighter side as we're moving from the steady to scattered showers. Now, there's a slight chance of thunderstorms with a slight chance of really localized damage. The worst of this storm, once again, is almost over. Now, as far as some of the heavier areas right now, we're looking at around up in the North Bay, where we still have a flood warning continuing until 9 o'clock for Greyton, Sebastopol, and Cotati. Notice the rain is over, but it takes a while for all that rain to reach the tributaries that are flooding right now. We've got the Sonoma Gray, where it's pretty heavy right now also, and around Palo Alto.
Thank you, Mike. Sue Hall will have a quick check on your Bay Area traffic when we return.
And welcome back. We're following your Monday morning commute. The power is out at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. We've been mentioning that most of the morning. Those blank wide open lanes, those are cash paying lanes. Everybody else is jammed up there, and the metering lights are not on because of the power outage. And it's really affecting folks coming into San Francisco. It's pretty much jammed there. And a big problem again, southbound 880 through Fremont remains closed due to flooding. Northbound is getting through, but it's very, very slow. So give yourself extra time.
Thank you, Sue. We're live right now on our ABC7 Bay Area app on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV, and Android TV as well, with continuing coverage of the storm that's moving out of the Bay Area. We'll be back with another ABC7 News update on Good Morning America in about 30 minutes. Welcome back. Our coverage of the major storm moving out of the Bay Area continues right now on the ABC7 Bay Area streaming app. In the East Bay, we want to start here where Bay Point got its fair share of flooding in the streets. Got new video in showing water spilling over onto the sidewalks and entire blocks of one neighborhood underneath the storm waters there. Look at that. I mean, wow. Can't even see the street, the sidewalks, none of it. In some spots coming up about halfway on these vehicles' tires, you can see.
I want to show you live right now what it looks like in San Francisco. This is from our Exploratorium camera, a far cry from what we saw yesterday. The city opened a temporary shelter for people who were unhoused. The shelter at Moscone Center West, it's open through 9 o'clock this morning, and there is room for 100 guests.
New video shows a water rescue underway this morning at the Guadalupe River in San Jose. This is near a homeless encampment that was flooded near Corey Court. The rescue was happening down the river from that camp there. And firefighters rescued a group of homeless people from fast rising waters along the Russian River. So these 4 people, they were camping out in a section of dry land in the middle of the river in Cloverdale. They were able to get there because the water level, it dropped so much during the drought. Well, all of that ended when the intense rain caused the water to rise so quickly that they weren't able to get to higher land fast enough. Firefighters had to use a boat to get them and their dog to safety.
Oh, it just comes so fast. I mean, there's no hope. I mean, it just comes fast, like you would not believe, man.
The group later said they ignored warnings to leave the area before the storm moved in, but again, thankfully they were rescued just fine. Now we want to check back in with Mike to see what's happening now. I know you've been kind of ranking today as a 1, which is a big change from the 4, almost 5 that we saw in parts of our viewing area yesterday, Mike.
Yeah, huge downgrade that we're very happy to bring to you, Julian. Kamasi, nice to see both of you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Let's start with some of the warnings out there. We've got the high surf warning that goes until 11 o'clock Tuesday. Look at that, already breakers up to 25 feet, and we could even reach 30. So beach erosion going to be a big issue there. Risk of sneaker waves and rip currents. Stay off the rocks. Don't even go near them, even though it's going to look majestic when those waves crash against them. Take a picture from long way away. Use the telephoto lens if you can. All right, we still have the warning, the flood warning for Greyton, Sebastopol, Cotati right there on 116 and also on the Bodega Highway. Notice it's not raining there, and that's good news. So hopefully that will not last past 9 o'clock, but it takes several hours for this water to reach all those areas. And once it reaches that one central area where all the tributaries dump into, that's when we see the flooding. Discovery Bay right there on the Byron Highway and 4, we've got some heavy rain. Altamont Pass, and just if you take that 84 cut through, it just rained heavily there. So there's going to be some issues with some standing water. Same thing just around Palo Alto, Middlefield Road there, and then back towards Portola Road. You can see some heavy rain falling. Now here's a look at it in motion over the last hour or so. You can definitely see we are winding down. The worst of this storm is over. It's a 1 with the steady rain already starting to turn over to scattered showers, and with a slight chance of a thunderstorm with its locally gusty winds and locally heavy rain, there could be some damage. In fact, just about an hour ago, we had a tree topple from less than 50-mile-per-hour winds down in the South Bay. This is the way it looks at SFO this morning. We had so many delays yesterday. Look at the rainfall total out where we have the runways, 4.62, but just a mile away on Crystal Springs Road, nearly 7.25. So that's how wide-ranging the rain is. Now, I'm taking the temperatures and the radar and put them both here for our planner. You can see we're in the mid to upper 50s. Now look what happens to the showers. They become very, very scattered as we reach near 60 degrees at noon. As we head into the 4 o'clock hour, they're almost non-existent as we're reaching the low to mid 60s. And if you're heading out this evening, pretty quiet out there. Temperatures quickly falling back into the mid and upper 50s. So grab a coat. As we head through the morning hours, you're less likely to need an umbrella, more likely to need sunglasses, but you can see it's still pretty gray behind Lisa. Let's get up to the roof and see what she's got cooking for us now. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Mike. It's really cold out, so temperatures have certainly dropped behind that front. So it is on the move, like you said, down through Point Conception, San Luis Obispo, reporting some very heavy rain, as well as Santa Maria. So this cold front is spreading some decent rain along the central coast. So they're going to get a little bit of piece of what we had. So take a look. For the next 7 days, this forecast model predicts that we're going to stay pretty dry, maybe 1/100th. But what you're seeing to the south of us, Santa Barbara, over an inch of rain, that is our cold front. That atmospheric river, not so much now, that is pushing down into Southern California. So some welcome rain for Southern California. The Central Coast, though, it's pretty dicey with the gusty winds. We talked about our records, and here it is, the wettest October day ever at 4.02 inches in San Francisco, and that does rank us as the 5th wettest day in the city. So yes, many records being shattered. Sacramento had the wettest day ever, and this right here, October rainfall. Santa Rosa, 9.53, San Francisco, 5.29, Oakland, 3.85, Livermore, over 4 inches, 2 1/3 for San Jose. So some of us shaping up quite nicely. Others could have done with a lot less, particularly the North Bay, where, as Mike mentioned, it was pretty much a level 5, raining for 30 hours. It started Saturday night, and you ended up with nearly 15 inches of rain in Kentfield, marking the total for the month at Mount Tam, over 26 inches, up to 9 inches almost in Yountville. The rain is ending, though, in the North Bay, over 6 inches in Oakland. These totals are unbelievable. We don't see these in October. Remember, the past 2 years, we got about 7 inches for the year last year in some locations, 5.5 inches plus for you over in Hayward. And you can see Ben Lomond. Wow, we were lucky with, I'm sure the damage, still a lot of it is coming in, but that's a lot of rain in one day for the Santa Cruz Mountains, the burn scar areas, and right along the coast, even some sunshine right now in Half Moon Bay. So things are shaping up to be a little bit better, but boy, the snow is coming down. It is a snow-rain mix in the Sierra Nevada, looking at 12 to 24 inches at some of the resorts. This is a heavy wet snow, 2 to 3 inches an hour. And we're looking at the resorts here doing pretty well. Remember, just October here, 10 inches around Tahoe City. So we can enjoy this from afar now, right? Since we're around the back end of it.
Hey, good morning. We're following your Monday morning commute. Speaking of the snow in the Sierra, the freeways are shut down, 80 and 50. A lot of it due to boulders in the roadway. At least the Echo Summit is shut down due to some major rocks in the roadway. Currently, we're looking at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Metering lights are not on. There is a power outage there. And so expect delays coming into San Francisco. In fact, take a look here at the western portion of the span. That is moving pretty much better than the eastern portion of the span. So we'll give yourself a little extra time and we'll take a look at the major freeway shutdown in the Fremont area. This due to flooding in lanes, southbound completely closed, 880 between Thornton and Mowry. We're going to have more detail on that in just a minute from our Ryan Curry. And in the northbound direction, several lanes have been reopened, but it's very slow through there. You're looking at slow traffic northbound 85 as you approach 101 due to flooding at Shoreline. There's some submerged cars. There's an accident involved there as well. So just give yourself plenty of extra time. That is the main issue this morning, standing water and flooding. Also at 580 and 680, the Dublin interchange.
All right, thank you, Sue. If you can work remotely, today might be the day to opt to do so. We continue to follow flooding on local highways this morning. Standing water already causing some big problems. We just saw on that weather map a short time ago 2¼ inches of rain down in San Jose in the last 48 hours. And ABC7 News reporter Ryan Curry has been showing us the aftermath. He's live along 880 in Fremont, where a major issue continues to plague the morning commute there. Ryan, is traffic finally moving on that portion of 880?
It is currently not moving. Everything is still shut down on southbound 880. Traffic right now being diverted just over my head to Thornton Avenue. And behind that, traffic is blocked for several blocks. And it's really just been a big headache for a lot of people trying to get down to San Jose for this morning commute. Right now, the main focus is on the corner over here. That's that one last lane currently still blocked that CHP officers are focusing on right now. We can tell you the water level has slowly been receding, but that has been the biggest obstacle, obviously, so far for this morning commute. Many cars this morning were trapped about 6 to 7, according to CHP. That led to them having to close the highway in both directions, having to get many tow trucks in there, and really just created a giant headache, as I mentioned, for a lot of people who are just trying to get down to the South Bay. A major rainstorm, as we've been talking about all morning, and now we're seeing the big impacts of it right here on one of the Bay Area's probably one of their biggest highways. And right now the latest update is that it is still closed. They're still working. They're trying to wait to see the water get down to a safe level to maybe where they can reopen just a couple lanes to get traffic flowing once again. But they have to wait until it gets down to a level because right now it's still impassable. They do not want anybody else getting trapped here and having to create an even bigger hurdle for crews and officers to have to work through to try to save them whatsoever. We can tell you that nobody was hurt today. That's the good news there. Everyone was able to safely get away from their cars. But as I mentioned, right now, the biggest hurdle is that traffic. Try to get down to San Jose. The best bet right now is to go on 680 or find just a completely different route. And let your bosses know, let your supervisors know that you're going to be late because this is still going to take some time. And even when they do open a couple lanes, it's still going to be moving at a pretty steady pace.
All right, thank you, Ryan. In the North Bay, let's check in there. Some streets are under more than a foot of water this morning caused by flash flooding, swelling creeks. ABC7 News reporter Stephanie Sierra is live in Marin County and San Anselmo with a look at what it looks like there now as people are waking up. Stephanie?
Good morning, Kumasi. Yes, it's been a wet and windy morning. Case in point, we've been tracking the levels here at the San Anselmo Creek, which is better described as a rushing river this morning. Neighbors who've lived in this area say levels rose about 4 inches just in a matter of hours yesterday. This entire downtown area was closed off as crews were concerned the creek was going to overflow. It certainly came close, but thankfully did not happen. Marin police tell us they will be out here again this morning monitoring this area, and if the tide gives you any indication, it was certainly bad across the board in Marin yesterday. Here's some video from San Rafael. Some of the streets were under 2 feet of water. Cars were struggling to cross intersections. This clip taken along 3rd Street and Lincoln Avenue. We spoke to Andrew Sauls, who was helping his neighbors make a plan to evacuate as flash flooding threatened homes along Woodland Avenue.
Go to higher ground. Like right there. You see that? Yeah. All that whole property is 20, 30 feet above sea level.
So that was your plan, to go across the street?
Exactly. It's not a big plan, but it was a good enough plan.
A good enough plan, one that he says many of his neighbors were not ready for. Residents and business owners who've lived here for more than 30 years say this is the worst they've seen it, having their basements flooded with at least 2 feet of water. Now, we'll come back with another live look here at San Anselmo Creek. Just over a week ago, believe it or not, this creek was completely dried out, and you can see the conditions this morning. Thankfully, no downed trees on this side, but farther up, a lot of debris clogged up parts of the creek. Public Works crews struggled to prevent much of it from clogging and flooding part of the town hall that's built over the creek. And we are told those crews will be back within the hour to continue assessing this area. We're live in San Anselmo. Stephanie Sierra, ABC7 News.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Oakland Zoo will be closed again today. This is video from much drier times. The zoo says that the bad weather creates unsafe conditions for guests. It was also closed yesterday. If you had a reservation, the zoo says you can get an automatic refund and then reschedule another visit on the website. The Alameda County Fair is set to reopen today. Organizers decided to close it yesterday because of the storm. If you had a ticket, you can use it any day, and the fair will be open through Halloween on Sunday.
This was one solution to the flooding in San Francisco. Neighbors, they were out there in the rain with brooms trying to do the best they could. They were keeping the water from getting into a corner building in the Richmond district. You can see a little bit more than a half dozen people trying to chip in there to do the best they can to keep that water from getting into that home. And we want to show you some more video taken in Sonoma County near Sebastopol. You can see the power of the storm as you look out over wine country. The wind was blowing, trees were swaying, and there was heavy rain. And I actually got a tweet from a viewer a short time ago saying that he has been without power in Sebastopol since 8 a.m. yesterday. So almost 24 hours now. So people are really being affected by this.
Well, the storm hit much of the Bay Area incredibly hard, and we asked you to show us what it looked like in your neighborhood, and a lot of you responded, sending us video of flooding, downed trees, and high seas in some cases. ABC7 News reporter J.R. Stone has a look.
Oh my goodness! Whoa. It feels like a water ride.
Yeah!
Through the hard rains and strong winds, there was some excitement as pickup trucks plowed through flooded streets in Santa Rosa. Not recommended, especially in Martinez, where even floodwaters could not stop the driver of this Prius. But homes were hit hard too. In San Rafael, Alvaro Kamal's apartment was completely flooded as the rain continued to fall. And in Santa Rosa, this home nearly flooded.
Her front yard.
While power lines came down in El Sobrante and a pole fire was seen in San Jose, perhaps the most intense video we received, besides this wild kite surfing video in Half Moon Bay, came from the bay. A tugboat captain recorded this clip, and it's not out in the open sea. It comes from the San Francisco Bay. Take a listen. Intense moments from an angle that you don't usually see.
All right, so let's check this out. This is the view of the atmospheric river from space. The National Weather Service posted this video. It's really cool to see this. You can see the spinning clouds from Canada all the way down to the West Coast, Mike.
Yeah, that record-setting area of low pressure, we call it a bomb genesis because it deepened more than 24 millibars in 24 hours. It's too technical, but just know that is a sign of very intense and very unusual storm system, especially for this time of the year. And that's why it produced such unusually high amounts of wind and rain for October. Hey, I've seen a large boulder blocking the roadway at Oakland Avenue at Uvis Road and causing some flooding in Santa Clara. That just came out of a local storm report from the National Weather Service. We've also had a tree come down within the last hour and a half down in the South Bay too. So we still have some issues to deal with down there. What you're looking at right now, that is all the heavy wet snow that is falling in the Sierra. I want to take a moment and show you that because that's really what is going to make or break our snow and rain season for filling up these reservoirs that are so low right now. In fact, look at this. This is from Zephyr Cove looking to the west from the east shore. And look at all that snow still coming down. That is some fantastic sight to see there. All right, so here's a look at San Francisco from the roof where we've had about 5.15 the last 48 hours. You can definitely see people kind of slow, but you don't see much of standing water. We're already starting to see that hopefully clear up in some areas. The steady rain already turning over to scattered showers. That's our first highlight. Tonight, patchy fog. I mean, we're going to have a lot of fog the next several nights because the ground is going to eventually let go and that moisture in the form of fog. So clouds and stars and definitely cooler, partly cloudy. Outdoor activities, yes please, this weekend after canceling so many things yesterday. Temperatures right now around 50 to about 58 degrees. Looking at San Francisco, average high 71. Will be 61 for a couple of hours from noon to 4 o'clock. But notice a whole lot of sunshine. Better chance of that than any showers. East Bay, Average high 72. We'll be around 61 to 62 from noon to 4 o'clock. Now let's head over to the peninsula where the average high is about 74 degrees. How about 61 to 62? Same time frame, bookend by temperatures in the upper 50s. You're going to see a trend here. The South Bay, even though the average high is 74, pretty much the same type of temperatures. Let's see if it's any different as we head up to the North Bay. Only a couple of hours near 60 around 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Average high 75. And let's go into our inland East Bay neighborhoods where the average high is 75. We'll hold on to the 60s a little bit longer from noon all the way to 6 o'clock. But notice the very slight chance of some showers showing up on that hourly forecast. Tonight, significantly cooler than this morning, mid-40s to a few mid-50s out there. More cloud cover as you head to the north. And see that shower activity up to the north? There's another chance of a chunk of energy rotating around that area of low pressure. Here we are at midnight tonight, nothing. Pretty much nothing through the morning commute tomorrow. Maybe a little mist up in the North Bay and some fog. But notice by noon, here's that chunk of energy rolling in with some scattered light showers. That will continue through 5 o'clock. But notice they do start to taper. And as we head into the overnight hours, Lake Mendocino, northern Sonoma, and Napa County will have a chance of some light showers during Wednesday's morning commute. And then they're just about over. In fact, the rainfall amounts going to be really negligible with this system. As you saw, well, it should have showed you that we're going to go nothing pretty much in the East Bay and the South Bay, a couple of hundredths around the Bay, up to 1,500s in the North Bay. So let's just jump ahead to the Accuweather 7-day forecast. We got a 1 today and a 1 tomorrow. And then you can see the increasing sunshine Wednesday afternoon puts us into the 70s away from the coast. Gorgeous weather for Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, possibly just slightly cooler Sunday with temperatures in the 60s. But thankfully, as I was driving around this morning, I noticed there's still plenty of leaves, plenty of fall foliage, a lot of color still out there. It didn't knock all the leaves down, but where it did, you could definitely see the effect it had on the roads and the flooding, Lisa.
Yeah, you know, we have a palm tree and those fronds, I tell you.
Big catcher's mitt.
Good idea. It's going to take 2 cycles of the garbage recycling to get rid of those. There are so many. So that's not my job. That's my husband's job. I wanted to tell you, I-80, Blue Canyon, 10.4 inches of rain. Now that was snow. 100 inches of snow would have arrived in the Sierra Nevada. But it is cold in the mountains. I want to pick up on what Mike said with the winter storm warning. We are looking at some cold weather right now. It's snowing in Reno at 5,000 feet, and at 7,000 feet, we picked up 2 feet at Alpine Meadows, and there's been a foot at Echo Summit. So this is some good news. While they got a lot of rain, we're not complaining. But the snow would be better, and right now it is turning into snow. So we want to move on and talk about what's to come next, which is not a whole lot. The good news is that we are looking at this winding down as we get through the day tomorrow, but the snow rates could be anywhere from 2 to 3 inches per hour. And as we look at the resorts in particular here, how about 12 inches Tahoe City, 15 inches South Lake in Kirkwood? Could see 20 inches. And the wettest day ever, yep, it was 4.02 in San Francisco, and the 5th wettest day ever on the record book. So for October, we are 9.5 inches Santa Rosa, San Francisco, almost 5 and over 5 1/4. 3.85 in Oakland, Livermore, over 4 inches of rain, and 2 1/3 in San Jose. Elsewhere around the Bay, looking at nearly 9 inches, Ben Lomond, Redwood City, 4.79. These are 48-hour totals. 2.55 by the Delta, and Yountville almost 9 inches. So Mike talked about that slight chance of maybe a little bit of precip coming our way. But if you look what's to the south of us, that's the front that is going to bring Santa Barbara over 1 inch of rain. Los Angeles, perhaps a 1/2 inch of rain, and even San Diego, where we were big news yesterday. My son lives down there, and he said everybody was talking about the Bay Area. He asked me about the surf, of course, but no, not a good idea for that. Anyway, looking at temperatures on the cold side in Fresno, still picking up about a 1/2 inch of rain. So when I said it was cold, how cold? Anywhere from 2 to 11 degrees colder this morning. So we're behind the system, and we like the snow in the mountains, but bundle up today. Highs only in the 60s. Mike already talked about the temperatures here, which are pretty chilly, and just because I'm on the roof, I thought I'd talk about that as well. Winds are going to be a bit of a factor just to create more of a chill. Not a big deal, but we're still talking about 20 miles an hour throughout the afternoon today in the city, about 10 to 15 elsewhere. So calmer day. Looking forward to that, Sue.
All right, thanks, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. Monday morning, kind of a hairy commute out there. We look at 101 through San Rafael. It's moving nicely, but a little farther south on 101, you've got flooding through Corte Madera and Lucky Drive. Only 2 lanes open to traffic, so just past our shot here, it's very slow getting through Marin County. Here's 880. It's moving nicely through Oakland, both directions past the Coliseum. However, we go a little bit farther south into Fremont, and that is where the big closure is due to flooding. Southbound 880 between Thornton and Maury, there is a diversion, a detour right there at Thornton, so you're on surface streets, and that's all jammed. So expect and give yourself plenty of extra time because we have delays there. Northbound is getting through, but it is very slow. And up to Napa, 121 closed due to flooding between 116 and 8th Street, and you have a detour there onto Napa Road. And we'll head back to the South Bay, northbound 17 onto southbound 280. That area is flooded in the region, so give yourself extra time. In fact, all over the Bay Area, you will see some standing water. There's that slow traffic through Marin County due to flooding in Corte Madera. Yeah, it's majorly backed up for a good solid 30-minute delay. Longer than usual, guys.
Definitely backed up there. Thank you, Sue. And we have a live look at SFO here, where the airport is about ready to start seeing passengers today. Thankfully, will be a much better day to fly than yesterday was. There were 473 delays in and out of SFO on Sunday. 63 flights had to be canceled. San Francisco was by far the most delayed airport in the nation yesterday because of that atmospheric river.
And this area in San Francisco's Sonoma neighborhood is now blocked off with caution tape. And you can see why. Scaffolding. It collapsed at the corner of 9th and Natoma Streets. This was yesterday morning. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. A massive rock slide about 45 minutes north of Oroville has shut down Highway 70 in both directions. And you're going to see why. Look how huge it is. It happened near Tobin in Plumas County. So many rocks falling there, blocking that roadway. And also we want to show you the water that was pouring down the hill where there it is, where it collapsed onto the road. Clearing all of this is going to take several days. In the East Bay, flooding got so high in the Martinez-Concord area that it covered up the wheels on this car. Despite the danger, a lot of drivers were still driving across rising water all across the Bay Area. The flooding spread across several blocks of Pacheco, and that rising water was so widespread it also got into homes not too far from the Shell Martinez refinery. Residents of One Vallejo neighborhood had to shelter in place because the streets around them were flooded. Look at this. This is a corner of Pepper and Williams Drive, which is also near a small creek. You combine that with the clogged drains, and then you get this. Streets that kind of look like giant pools. Public Works crews eventually got there to unclog the drains, but before that happened, you know, you got to enjoy it, I guess, while you can.
Well, you got to really feel for this family in Glen Ellen. They had to use buckets to clear out the water that flooded their home. It happened yesterday morning, way before the more intense rain hit Sonoma County. The fire department tried to pump the water out, but couldn't keep up. The residents, they didn't give up, though. They tried shoveling, they tried sweeping away the water. And at one point, they used a hose to try and clear that flooding away.
Well, they weren't the only ones who saw the flooded streets and thought, we need to do something about this. This is a little bit different, though. These people got the kayak out. This is in the North Bay, and Ben shared this video from San Rafael, and it shows 2 people in this kayak waving to oncoming traffic.
Well, people are getting pretty creative in this wild weather, including our very own ABC7 sports producer, Casey Pratt. He shared this video. You can see him skateboarding, holding on to that umbrella for dear life. He wanted to see if the wind was strong enough to pull him forward, and yep, turns out it is. Casey wrote, effective use of wind energy. How far do you think I could get? If he's going downhill, I think he can get pretty far.
I just need to see this one more time. Because I was just trying to stay inside and stay dry. Casey is out here doing experiments.
Same, yeah, some science experiments over here.
Oh my goodness.
Extreme sports, something in between.
A little of both. Well, thank you for being with us. You're watching ABC7 Mornings. It's streaming live on the ABC7 Bay Area streaming app. We are going to take a moment so that people who are watching Good Morning America can join us for a live news update.
Yeah, and while we get ready for that, we're going to leave you with a look at live Doppler 7. You can see the rain moving into the East Bay, the South Bay, but parts of us are beginning to dry out. We'll also show you some live pictures from around the Bay Area. Stick with us. We'll be right back with that update.
Now an AccuWeather update from ABC7 News.
Good morning, I'm Julian Glover from ABC7 Mornings. We want to get right to Sue Hall with a check of traffic, so we know there have been major issues because of the flooding this morning.
That's right, Julian. All over the Bay Area. I wish I could tell you it was just one or two spots, but we had over 93 incidents earlier this morning with solo spinouts and accidents. And the big issue remains northbound 880. Actually, southbound is the closed direction through Fremont from Maury to Thornton. You're being diverted off at Thornton. Northbound had a few lanes open, and now all lanes are open, but you still see some slow traffic as you approach Highway 84. Elsewhere through Marin County, very slow due to flooding in Corte Madera. In fact, you can pretty much count on flooding surface streets throughout the Bay Area. Mike?
Yeah, we still have some steady rain to show you in some areas, and some of it's moderate, like in Discovery Bay, and as you move through the Altamont Pass and down into the Sonoma grade and down into the South Bay. And this is the last push of moderate rain. It's going to turn over to scattered showers, and it's been downgraded to a 1 on the storm impact scale. There's some damages possible due to those local winds.
And we'll have another ABC7 News update in about 30 minutes. The news continues.